Hi, folks. So, just really quickly here, I'm not feeling super great this morning, and well, the sun did kind of go behind clouds, oh wow, again, instantly three people right away. Huh, 2 days in a row, that's kind of different. Anywho, it's supposed to not be very nice weather tomorrow, but I don't know, maybe today's supposed to be a mix. Anyway, I just wanted to say, and the three just went all the time. It's very strange, very strange. It's like some weird glitch or something at the moment. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, and I'm going to sit back here. I don't plan for this, and sometimes I don't, but sometimes I'm very kind of flexible with it. But that's not because I have necessarily a whole lot going on. Well, for the most part, but it's more comfortable back here. I should let some light in the room, and there was another reason, oddly, that I can't remember at the moment, which is really odd. It's not a huge thing, but chapstick. Um, well, I didn't want to maybe sit quite so close. I don't know. And then my shirt's a little less distracting. Still haven't really told the story of the other one. And I don't know. Like I say, I'm kind of functioning pretty slow today. But yeah, I just wanted to say, like I've made some money recently, and it's great. It is great, and it is helpful. I'm not going to say that it's not. Oh, right. Well, no, I was saying I don't intend for this to be very long. Anywho, part of the matter being is, yeah, I'm not going to say that it's not. However, there can be other things that one needs in life as well. And when you don't get them or have them, and I am thankful for what I do have, but it kind of means that having money is not, you know, let's say it is one of the most important things, but it's not the only. Okay, it's chilly up here for some reason, especially. I think I remember turning the heat off this morning. Anyway, and I think that that's probably pretty obvious. Um, People have the basic needs: food, water, and drinks in general. Hydration, um, fresh air. I forget the Maslow's hierarchy. Is that what it's called? I think, but so they need that. We all do. Uh, it does seem like, for whatever reason, some people do need it less, but we all do. But some of the ones that are maybe forgotten more are opportunities, um, checking in, uh, having someone that, honestly, I would say both, but it depends on the person, maybe. But it was really weird. I saw a post this morning in a group. There was about maybe 7 or 8 comments. Nobody, and I felt so mixed. This person, she'd had someone pass away, and she said that this person was her cheerleader and, always there for her and blah, 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 blah. She didn't say how, and please, please, I mean, I know the video the other day got long, but there was a lot of care and some important things, I think, to hear in that video. So either I have the time mostly, if nobody's watching at the moment, but if you'd like to ask for help finding the certain spots, or just skip ahead, I will repeat one of the things that comes to mind, though, which is that there can always be good. There's always a little bit of good, whether even if it's seems very routine, very like, that's a given in some ways, because it may not always be. I mean, but yeah, basically, I didn't think I was right, but yeah, basically, uh, it's people are gonna think this is even shorter than most of my short ones. I'm thinking, but we'll see. Um, and that I'm sure that you've seen in your life, much like, if we want to talk about superstitions and full moons, I'm sure that I've had many a fine time, or at least decent time, while there's been a full moon out. And other superstitions too. Not that I'm not superstitious sometimes. Point of the matter being is, and I know most of them. I wouldn't want to gain any new ones. So if they're not, I mean, I know you might think that ones that are common are common, but they might not be known about, or at least not in my country. Anywho, point of the matter being, and we don't have to talk too much about that, but yeah, it's kind of like, uh, but I've always been someone kind of driven by it. Success and opportunity is great. And sometimes I'm looking for opportunities where I'm not asking, where it's like volunteering, you know. And my 30s have been especially hard in getting opportunities. And it's weird because I don't think I'm that different a person from when I was in my 20s. I mean, in my 20s, we just moved here. I don't know, we settled in pretty good, actually. I don't really know what it is, but I know I do videos fairly often, and, the thought came up the other day that to a lot of people I may look lazy, but chronic fatigue syndrome and other health issues and such, some days better than others, but um, are very real, you know. And but I still am very capable. And I was watching a video the other day, and also just in my own thinking, where it's kind of like I certain things would just not be good ideas for certain people to do, and they shouldn't push themselves maybe. But also in some ways, it doesn't matter how much you push yourself if you keep getting pushed back instead of pulled in and utilized to your full potential. That's a good way to put it. Then it sometimes it really seems to happen for not much reason. Uh, and like even I'm a smart person. Um, and sometimes it really is the other person's problems and issues that complicate. But no, basically, yeah, it's I'm just seeing some somewhat distracting pictures on this other screen, but um, yeah, yeah. So I would narrow it down to that. Two of the other most important things in life is knowing that you have people there for you and having opportunity. Um, I kind of want to also add knowing that you have other people to be there for. Again, some people may not feel they have the capacity, but I just want to also quickly touch on a phrase I hear often, but it feels like I've noticed it more in the past few days. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess because I've been like some mental health support groups or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, point of the matter is they say, yo, you can't love somebody or help somebody unless you're, and I think I said that in the other video too. We're never going to be perfect, We're never going to be, this supreme being. And I don't even think we have to be. I guess there's a level you should maybe be at to be able to do those things, but it's not perfect because that doesn't even exist. Like if you are like very, very numb in your mind because of mental health or whatever, and you're very, very, very distracted. And I mean, but again, you can be those things to a certain level, and I think still have a lot of potential to do great for yourself and others. So, and I feel like I'm living proof of that. But at the same time, it's not going as far as it needs to. And so I have a lot of, like I say, I feel not to toot my own bugle, but I have a lot of potential, and all it takes is me getting to utilize that to show it. Um, sometimes you truly do have to rely on others though to get there. It's just the way our society, the way the world works, you know, because a lot of it is providing a service. Now, yes, you can do a service for yourself, but sometimes it doesn't make as much sense, you know. But yes, I am. I'm very money driven. I attach it to success. It's not the only thing that means success. I think it also I attach it to stability, right? I mean, that's pretty common as well. Uh, but yeah, it wouldn't let me do my symbol. It almost looked like it was getting in the title, but it can be monetized. But anyway, but yeah, so okay, I'm getting starting to get a little bit long, but I felt very slow this morning. I'm distracted and tired. I might do another video later, but well, I'm not super just I don't know, I am or not. But yeah, so I think I narrowed it down. How are you going to incorporate that? How are we going to incorporate it in our lives? You know, I mean, two of the things mean making connections, and sometimes it's easier than other times. And again, I understand a lot of it. Yeah, it things can be struggles sometimes. But one other thing I want to touch on is made a lot of money, have some things I'd like to do with it, but they don't feel accessible or it doesn't quite feel like the right time of year. Uh, uh, and there's a bit more details in that, but that's at its base. Um, there's also the fear of running out when you don't have a lot. But then um, the other thing I wanted to quickly touch on is just being a picky eater. I mean, more than I used to be. And I don't know if there's any reversing that. I mean, part of it is, which the A might even stand for autistic. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Avoidance is what I think it stands for. But autism comes into it, a lot of times. And sometimes you grow into those things more as you get older. And then they're just a part of who you are. You can try and adapt and tweak, but it only worked to a point, right? So trying to remember, I think the shortest ones I've done recently are probably around 20 something minutes long. So that even if I do wrap this up in a couple of minutes, I'm still not bad. But again, you can watch it in sections at different points in time. You can skip, I don't really mind for the most part. But it's nice to see engagement and nice to know that these are making a positive impact. And I mean the stuff about money, I realize that it's very obvious, but I think sometimes we forget it. But at the same time, like if someone says, "I just need some money. I just need money," whatever. I mean, and I'll be happy if somebody was to try and tell them the opposite. It's kind of like, well, but maybe they really do in this situation, or maybe they might come into some pretty hard struggles. So with a lot of things, some things are more simple than others, but with a lot of things, it's not usually just one thing, one need that someone has. I guess that's how you can put it. So anyway, it's sometimes it gets warm up here, and I can't remember the heat of it now, and I just but it's already telling me I should. It's kind of chilly up here, and I'm a little bit congested, I guess, as I'm doing this, and tired. I don't know. I mean, like say the sun went in a bit, but I don't know. Other than that, I've just been living in some ways that I don't want to keep living. And I'm seeing what I can do about it. Now, I did post in a group something to the effect of, when you have this realization that you can't keep living certain ways, it's just so counterintuitive, such and such. One thing I've been hearing a lot lately is what people say when they finally face certain fears. It's hard. First of all, it's hard. Second of all, some may be more worth facing or more important to face than others, more safe to face than others, perhaps even. Uh, but if not for my words, stay tuned. In the next video I do, I might very well anonymously share some of the comments that the post gets if it gets them. And my posts do mostly pretty well in that group. Well, it's hit and miss for anybody, I think, in that group, but I've been very curious because it definitely feels easier said than done in a lot of cases. Or sometimes you make some brief progress, but it's not something that's meant to last. And it's not that those things don't matter. But yeah, it's in 2 weeks in July at the festival is great and everything. And it's weird. I do and don't seem to remember every year. I mean, but then before the pandemic, I was just simply busier. And then there was the pandemic. So there's only been about three years of it, I guess. But I mean, busier does not necessarily mean living a life of purpose in the ways that I wanted to. Again, that was more in my 20s and perhaps more in my youth, depending, younger than that, depending on how you look at it. But I don't know. It's so when the festival finishes, it's kind of like, yeah, for at least 2 years, I've probably been like, okay, now what? In some ways, and it's like, yeah, I really want to know now what, and I really want to get there. And so that's what I'm working on. And what are your thoughts? Thank you. Take care.